I think there was some issue yesterday and we didn't have this recording to upload that on YouTube. That's why I thought that we should take this session once again. So that's why I'm taking this session. Now, please let me know that how many of you are attending Strategic Alpha webinar for the first time, so that I should know who is my audience. I'll have a better clarity about that. And one more thing I would like to ask, that how many years you are investing in stock market? Just comment in the comment box, especially those who have joined new. I want to ask them, since how many years you have been investing in stock markets? Yes, some are 2 years, some are 5 years, 6 months. Good to know that now it would be like multi-bagger profits for you. And for many investors who have joined new, it has been like a dream run. But let me tell you all that going forward, bigger money will be made, because all where there was value has been evaporated. Hereafter, unless and until you put in some real effort, you cannot make money hereafter. This is what I see. So that's why understanding each industry, understanding each sector, understanding the company is very much important. Now, if you don't have that deep understanding, it becomes very difficult. So that's the reason why yesterday, and sugar is one of those industries which is very much complex to understand. So to break that complexity, to bring that simplicity, I brought this webinar, understanding the dynamics of sugar sector. So yesterday also I took that webinar because there was some issue with camera, then there was some issue with internet and all those things. But I completed that webinar, but we didn't have that recording. So that's why I wanted to take this webinar once again. So I would like to ask that how many of you have gone through Strategic Alpha blog, and how many of you have not read my blog, strategicalpha.blog? I guess that most of the people must have read. Then you will understand that how this community works, Strategic Alpha community works. Yeah, good to see that. Now, okay, most of the learning I have posted that on my blog. Most of the things like articles, whatever it is important for you to become a smart investor, I have posted all that. But apart from that, I do a lot of these activities like videos and all this content to help to empower this community in such a way that they can become smart investors. And why I'm doing this, let me tell you all that in markets, I went bankrupt at the age 24. And I have seen that tough phase. And I have seen that one who is so passionate about markets, who lost it all in markets with 45 lakh rupees negative in markets with bankruptcy. It is very difficult for a normal investor to go through all that bad phases and then create fortunes. Markets are the place to create fortunes if you do it properly. If you take it as a business, it will reward you as a business. If you take this as a gamble, it will reward as a gamble. It will prove to be a gamble. This is what Mr. Vijay Kedia also tells. And this is what I believe. So that's why my motive is that whenever I'm taking this community along, because I'm on the mission to change wealth lives of 1 lakh people directly or indirectly through our Strategic Alpha community. So directly by through our mentorship program, indirectly through whatever I'm writing on the blog, whatever the videos I'll be posting. This I'm doing just to satisfy myself. The reason for that is I have gone through that bad phase. I don't want that the same phase should be faced by the individual investors, because I went bankrupt. I was kicked out of my house, and it was very tough period. And I have seen that normal individual investors, it becomes very difficult. And that's the reason why I have started writing this Strategic Alpha blog from past 4 years. So, and if I had got a good mentor in my earlier life, I would have saved 5 years of my valuable life. And that's why I have created this community in such a way that at least people stop losing money. If you stop losing money, automatically market will reward you. If you come to the market to learn, you will earn. If you come to the market to earn, you will always learn. Just keep these words in your mind, and this is what I have seen. If you come to the market, be the student of market, don't be a master. If you be a student of market, it will reward you. And if you be here and if you just come here, it is very simple, because markets are such a place wherein you can make simplest, means you can make easy money in the hardest way. Because to make that easy money, it takes 6 to 8 years or 10 years to come to that level. But if you see the retail investors or normal individual investors, 99% of the people leave the market in first 3 years if they are directly investing in equities. And every year you cannot get a year like this, like 2021. Years are different. There will be tough phases, there will be bad phases, there will be good phases. But a person who lives beyond 8-10 years create fortune for himself. Like, let me tell you my story. I saw biggest bull run in my life in 2008, 2009, 10. So I was very fascinated looking at that bull run, and that's the reason. And I always means I also saw 2005 to 2008, but I was not that mature to understand that how it can create fortune for me. But when I saw 2008 to 10, most of the stock became multi-baggers. Many stock became multi-baggers. Then I got the understanding. Then I got the understanding that stock markets, if you do it properly, it can create fortunes for you. That's why I got interested and I started my full-time trader or investor journey. But again, in 2013-14, I saw, because I bought some of the stock, but I saw and I made money. But my problem was I exited very early. Most of the stocks which I found, I sold at 3x, 4x. Stock went to become 10x, 20x. Some of the stock became even 50x. So 2008 to 10 was the observation. 2013 to 14, 15, 16, it was learning. It was learning that selling early can be a big mistake. 2018 to 20, 2018 to 20, 18 to 19, it was a learning again, bear phases, because I have seen 2 bear markets and 3 bull markets till now in my life. So this is after being in markets for two bull market in past and 2 bear market in past. This is the bull market which is rewarding me the most. And after 13 years, I have come to understand that what not to do in markets. So if I have to spend 13 years of my life to understand what not to do, how can a normal retail investor live here in markets to think in a way that he can create fortune from stock markets? That's the reason why I have started this mentorship program in such a way that I have compiled this 13 years of my mistakes journey in, they can complete that in 1 to 3 years or 4 years. Someone might complete in 2.5 years. So that's why I have created this community in such a way that they empower themselves. I am able to bring that seed into their minds, wherein they can understand that this is a place wherein fortune can be created. I will not take much time. I will directly start with the presentation, but this message is very important. That's why I'm talking about it. So my thinking is that even if you come in stock markets with 100 rupees, let us say if your total net worth is 100 rupees, and even if you take 20% of your net worth from that for stock market purposes, I'm not talking about investable surplus, I'm talking about the total net worth. So even if you come up with 20%, worst case scenario, the 20 might become 10, even after learning all these things. And that is the worst case scenario. In the best case scenario, your 80 rupees, most of that will be invested in real estate and all these things. But 80 rupees can grow to 130, 140 in real estate, bank FD, or whatever it may be in 10 years time. But in 10 years time, if you are able to grow this 20 rupees to 200 or 300 rupees in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, you can create a wealth which can beat inflation. This is what my motive is here in Strategic Alpha community. That's why I've created this. I'm continuously writing these blogs and all these things. So this is what my motive is. Hope you resonate to it. And if you think that with this approach, we can create wealth for ourselves, we can create fortune for ourselves with thorough understanding, please comment in the comment box so that I understand that I'm on the right path taking all this community together. Please comment in the comment box if you think that this approach can help us in that way. Yes, yes, because I have seen that if I had got a good mentor in my life, I would have at least saved 5 years of my valuable life. So let us move forward without wasting much time. We'll move forward and deep dive into understanding of sugar sector, understanding of dynamics of sugar sector, and why I think this sector today has the potential to create fortunes. So please don't take anything as a recommendation. Let me tell you, I'm not a SEBI registered investment advisor. Even if I'm talking about some stocks in this presentation, don't take this as a recommendation. This is purely for educational purpose. Purely for educational purpose. Please don't take this as a recommendation, because some days before, some guy was telling that I have bought something on your recommendation. Please don't take this as a recommendation. The more you learn, the more you earn. If you take that in your mindset, you will really make money. If you are here to for free tips, because tips you get in restaurants. If you think that you are a waiter, you should think about tips. If you think that you want to be a business owner, you should think like a business owner. If you think in that way, only and only then you can create big wealth in stock markets. So let us move further and understand the dynamics of sugar sector. So how sugar manufacturing plant works. So this is how sugar manufacturing plant works. This image I have taken from internet. This is not, I have not created this image. So credit goes to internet, Google, whatever it is. So sugarcane, whenever that sugarcane comes to a plant, that sugarcane is washed. After washing, there is a milling. So they crush that sugarcane into small pieces, and from that they extract the juice. Whenever that sugarcane is crushed, that whatever crushed residue is remain, it is called as bagasse. It is called as bagasse. So that bagasse is good for burning purpose. It is burnt in uh, power plant to produce electricity. So that bagasse goes into power production, and that whatever the juice has came from that milling process, that juice goes to filtration. During the filtration, before filtration, there is a large filtration. Through that filtration, they get the press mud. Press mud is one of the residue. So press mud, you can research about that at a later point. But press mud is one of the residue. They just take out that waste from that, and it is used to produce organic fertilizer, biofertilizer. Press mud is that kind of waste which is used to produce biofertilizer. So this press mud is a output or is a byproduct of this sugar manufacturing plants. Through press mud, after filtration, some of the some of that goes to as a press mud, but most of it after filtration, it comes to sugar manufacturing plant. It comes to processing, further processing. So it is boiled to create that crystals. So it is boiled along with limestone and all these additives whenever they add, and even they also add sulfur to bring that white color. And whenever they boil more, one stage boiling, two stage boiling, and three stage boiling. During the one stage boiling, some of the recovery is done, and it is spread, and it crystallizes. So sugar crystallizes. In the second phase, again some sugar is extracted. In the third phase, whenever they boil, again some sugar is extracted. So during each phase, some of the molasses will come. Molasses nothing but it is one of the waste which comes out of that filtration process again. So that molasses can be used as a additive or a raw material to produce ethyl alcohol. ethyl alcohol or ethanol, which we call C2H5OH. This is what from that molasses we use that molasses to produce ethanol with the use of yeast. They just ferment it, and after fermentation you get that alcohol. So whenever that alcohol plant or ethanol plant is there, so from that molasses it goes to fermentation, then it goes to distillation. That from that process you get alcohol. From that distillation again some of the waste is remaining. That waste is called as spent wash. That spent wash is highly pollutable. It's a big pollutant for on waterfront. So that pollutant is again neutralized, and that can be sent for algal cultivation or fertilizer, or that water can be sent to farms, or that can be sent to the rivers after processing, after reducing the pollutants. So this is how the total sugar cycle or sugar production cycle works, or sugar manufacturing cycle works. So if you see here, if you do it properly, if sugar manufacturing happens properly, there is nothing which can take you into loss. But still, lot of sugar companies are doing a big loss. The reason for that is there is lot the means earlier there were a lot of problems in this sector, and because of that, most of the companies used to go bankrupt in this sector. Most of the companies didn't made a big profit because it was a cyclical industry. And if you see the products which are produced in this manufacturing plant, you get sugar, you get ethanol, you get power produced from cogen facility, and you get sale of bio fertilizer. So 60 to 85% of the revenues comes from sale of the sugar, 10 to 25% comes from sale of ethanol, and 10 to 15% of the revenues comes from power produced from that bagasse burning. So nothing here goes waste. If nothing is going waste, how can this industry run into losses? Just see, because sugar is a essential commodity. Ethanol is again an essential commodity for it is used to mix in petrol, or even sanitizers are produced from that ethanol, 10 to 25%. And that ethanol is again that is actually produced from molasses, which is a waste. So waste is utilized to produce that product. It is called as byproduct, and even power is a byproduct. Still, companies face losses. So when I was a student of environment management, I used to regularly visit these sugar manufacturing companies. Then I understood, being there for many days, studying all these plants, then I understood that sugar में loss जाने जैसा कुछ भी नहीं है. If you do it efficiently, if you do it properly, loss जाने जैसा कुछ भी नहीं. But still, why most of the sugar plants suffer and they are near to bankruptcy? The reason for that is the challenges of that sector. We'll be talking about that in a later point. But before, we will understand the sugars industry, global and Indian scenario. Once we understand, because when we are talking about investments in sugar sector, or when we are researching about sugar, and when we are researching about this sector, we should know what is the global scenario, what is the Indian scenario. If we know this properly, we can take proper decision. So if we see globally, global production, global sugar production is about 175 million ton, and global consumption is about 174 million ton. If you see, it is like production, and this is last year data. If you see this year there is a deficit. Actually, global production has lowered and global consumption has not come down. So because of that, there is a deficit. So this is the last year data: 175 million ton global production and global consumption 174 million ton. Out of that, Brazil accounts for 40% of total global production. Brazil accounts 40% of total global production. So Brazil's situation becomes very important when you study sugar industry, because Brazil is the largest producer. Then Thailand accounts for 8% of global production. India accounts for 20% of the global production. So these three countries, Brazil, Thailand, and India, collectively account for around 68% of global production. So if you see this, only three countries are important. If you are able to understand these three countries' situation, it becomes predictable. you can bet on that sector. So it becomes very important to understand. First, you understand Brazil situation, then you understand India situation, then you understand Thailand situation. So if you understand that, you can take better decision. So let us come to Indian scenario. India has a production of 30 million ton. India has a production of 30 million ton, whereas consumption is only 25 million ton. So we are sugar surplus country. We are not a sugar deficit country. We are a sugar surplus country. So what government has to do is, see, sugar is very important sector in India. Around 5 crore farmers are dependent on this sector. 5 crore farmers in India, around 3.5% population, 4% population is engaged in sugar cane manufacturing or sugar cane production. So it becomes a very important sector from the government perspective, because large part of political whatever vote bank or whatever it comes, most of the decisions come from this sector. Means most of the it becomes very important for political person to understand this scenario very well, because if they are understanding, if they are keeping this 5 crore people happy, then they can get a good vote bank. That's the reason why most of the times, like even if you see one of the person, Raju Shetty, he used to do a lot of thing in the sugar sector, combining coming ahead with farmers and trying to increase the cane prices, and because of that, lot of sugar manufacturing companies had to pay higher prices. And when that happens, sugar companies cannot make big profits, because if your production cost goes up, and if you see Indian scenario, production cost, our Indian production cost is 50% higher than Brazil. Actually, let us say this way, that Brazil's cost of production is 30 to 40% lower than India. The reason for that is, there are many much reasons. One is, sugar is politically important sector. Second, sugar industry here in India, or sugarcane manufacturing here in India, happens in small fragmented lands. If you see lands, if you see farms in Brazil, there are 100 acre, 200 acre, 300 acre owned by single person, or they are owned by corporates. So cost of production for sugarcane goes down. But here in India, there are fragmented lands, and a person doesn't own even an acre. So if that happens here in India, his cost of production for using these fertilizers, using this water resources, all those resources, it goes up. And because of that, cost of procurement for sugar manufacturing companies goes up. That's the reason why our cost of production goes up. And if that is going to happen, and that is going to remain, how these companies will be able to utilize this surplus sugar? Because if there will be remaining all these surplus sugar on their in their godowns, they are not going to make big money, because that working capital will increase. So if they want to reduce their working capital, they have to export. But the problem is, in global markets, their prices are lower than Indian prices. But at the same point of time, for government, it is very important that they protect the interest of farmer, they protect the interest of even sugar manufacturing plants. If they don't protect the interest of sugar manufacturing plants, again there will be large farm areas, and because of that, farmers will again suffer. So government, what it does is, they gives export incentive for sugar manufacturing. If you are exporting this sugar, you get an export incentive of 5,800 to 6,000 rupees per ton. If you are getting that export incentive, let us say even if the global production or global sugar prices are lower, because of this export incentive, they can actually export and make some profit. So when you do this, it is good to give it to sugar manufacturing plants than to make a suffering for farmers. So this is what government does. And government this year, it had an outlay of 2,500 crores last year. So 2,500 crores, if they are able to infuse, if they are able to give that incentive to these sugar manufacturing companies, 5 crore people are directly benefited. So that's why government focuses on export incentive. Hope you got this information. So now what happens is, even World Trade Organization is putting pressure on Indian government that why are you unnecessarily disrupting the global trade, but we don't have any option. So that's how sugar industry works. Hope you got it. Please comment in the comment box if you are with me. Please comment in the comment box if you are with me. So now, what is important when you are studying this industry, as I told, you need to check Brazil's production. Why we are talking today, or why I'm talking on sugar industry today, because a lot of stocks have already become multi-bagger. Like I was talking about Balrampur Chini last year in March, April, it was trading at 80, 85 rupees. Today it is already trading at 320, 350 or 360. I don't know the today's price, but it is already trading at, it has already become a multi-bagger. But even after stocks going down, going up that much, there is value in some of the stocks where you have to do some study. But I will be giving you some points wherein you will understand that how sugar companies are going to be benefiting from that one event. So that one event is global sugar price rise. So globally, there has been substantial increase in sugar prices. So global sugar prices after long years, 5-6 years, they are moving on a higher side. And at some point of time, there will be a stage where cost of or price in sugar price, market price in India will be equal to global prices. So when that happens, without any export incentive, these sugar manufacturing companies will be able to export. And there will be some point wherein global prices will be even higher than the Indian prices. The reason for that is because of short supply. And last year, means this year actually, if you just read on news, you'll understand Brazil has seen a 35% cut in production. So biggest manufacturer of sugar has seen a biggest cut. When that happens, global sugar prices are bound to go higher. I'll be talking about at a later point. So when that happens, even if the export incentive is stopped, Indian sugar companies which has a surplus of 5 million ton, and now today because of that production cut from Brazil and even from Thailand, from 2 years in Thailand, there has been a bad crop. So bad crop in Thailand and bad crop in Brazil, it is creating a deficit of 5 million ton. So India is already sitting at this is approximate. Please don't take it as accurate numbers. Do your own study. But I'm giving you the approximate number. So India has a surplus of 5 million ton. Globally, there is a deficit of 5 million ton. And sugar is one such commodity wherein even if the price is going up and even it has gone up, we will not stop. We will not stop it consuming. So consumption will be there always. So 5 million ton at in India, whatever the surplus is, it can be absorbed in global markets. So when that happens, and if they get a better realization, some of the sugar manufacturing companies which has good inventory can even make 20-25% margins on their inventory. So this is one of the windfall gain which sugar manufacturing companies can have. So this is why I'm talking about this sector today. But let us talk what happened in past. So in past, before 2015, it was an ugly sector. It was an ugly sector. The reason for that are these. As I told, that sugar is one of the sensitive sectors from the political point of view, from social point of view. And that's the reason why there has been a lot of political intervention before, and even now, in some to some extent, there is political intervention in some of the states that will always remain. But that quantum of that it has reduced. Political intervention leading to higher input cost for sugar procurement, which is called as SAP. So that when your cost of procurement goes up, currently it is at 2,850. When your cost of procurement goes up, you cannot make big profits. So this is one of the reasons why sugar industry was one of the ugly reasons, because there is lot of regulatory issues, there is lot of political issues, and because of that, most of the companies didn't use to survive in this business. Second is farm arrears and risk to the industry from high interest rates. let us say if you are already having this political intervention, and apart from that there is a rule from government that if you have to means if your due to farmers is pending, so you have to pay 15% interest on that. And if the companies have bad balance sheets, if they cannot pay, that debt goes ballooning because of this interest rate. And this has been happening until 2015. So still some of the states are having such interest rate, and still that is negative. But one thing which has changed in past 4 5 years, that is changing this sector in a big way. So companies are reducing the debt. So we'll be talking about that later. So one of the big reasons why sugar sector was a ugly sector is high interest rate on farm arrears. So that farm arrears, because here the cost of loans or cost of doing business, it is so huge in here in India. And apart from that, when you are getting the business loan today at 12 13%, you have to pay 15% to the farm arrears. That is a big number. So because of that, farm means sugar manufacturing in India was a ugly sector until 2015. Now, just because there is a demand supply gap, just because there is a change in all these levels, there used to be big fluctuation in sugar prices. So most of the times sugar prices went below cost of production. So when that used to happen, most of the sugar manufacturing companies were running into loss. And when that happened, with that debt, with that interest costs, most of the companies were going bankrupt. So this is one of the reason why this sugar sector was ugly until 2015. So there was no price production because sugar price sometimes sugar price cost of production was 28 rupees per kg, and sometimes sugar price went below 24 rupees or 22 rupees. So in that situation, on every kg, if they are losing 5 rupees, somebody which is having a 2 million ton or 1 million ton plant, just see how much loss they will be making. So it was a very tough industry. Now, and there was no serious thought on ethanol policy, because you know that from sugar you can directly convert it into ethanol, and ethanol can be blended with petrol to create a blended product which can be sold in markets, because cost of procurement of this ethanol is lower than the petrol, because whenever the petrol prices go up, and if you can get ethanol, which is alcohol, you can mix that alcohol in petrol, and it's a good option for oil marketing companies. So until 2015 there was no ethanol policy, and because of which, even if you produce the ethanol, there was no markets. And there was market because there were market, but market was not developed in such a way that all the sugar manufacturing companies can earn through that ethanol selling. So this happened until 2015, and because of which sugar manufacturing or sugar business was an ugly business. Are you with me? Please comment in the comment box with you so that we can move forward. So if somebody has any questions, please post that in Q&A section. I'll be taking all the questions at a later point. Please comment that in Q&A section. Don't comment that in chat, because chat will be running. In Q&A, there is a special space. Yes. Let us move forward. So what has changed after 2015? Because of which most of the companies have survived, and most of the companies are profitable, and even the stocks have become multi-bagger. So what has changed after 2015? Before going to that, I'll come to this point. My thoughts on doubling the farm income by 2022. So see, I've been tracking this sector from past 8 years now. One thing which I've read, because once I saw this in 2008-9, then I saw this in 2014, 15, 16. Now I'm again seeing this, reading all that annual reports, because since last many weeks I've been reading continuously, and because I read this annual reports after 2014. Last I read these annual reports of all these company was in 2014-15. So when I read these annual reports from 2018, 2019, 2020 today, a few weeks back, one thing which I understood from reading all these annual reports is that seriousness of government, because each and every sugar manufacturing plant, promoter of those sugar manufacturing plant, they are talking about this government policy, how they have taken it seriously. I'm not a political supporter of any political party, but let me tell you, this government has really taken some effort from 2015 to change the fortunes of this sector. So what they have done is, so even like if you have heard about doubling the farm income by 2022, you must have started hearing that from 2018. But when I read these annual reports, I got a sense that they started the planning from 2015 itself. Because what they did is, first they brought, because as you know that this is one of the social sector, sugar cane manufacturing or sugar, it is related, closely related to all the society, because 5 crore people are dependent on it. So what they understood is that if they want to keep the farmer happy, first keep the manufacturer happy, first keep these sugar manufacturing plants happy. If you are keeping them happy, automatically your farmer will be happy. If these the troubles of these sugar manufacturing plants fades away, they will pay the farm arrears and farmers' income will increase. So what they did is, first they brought EBP program. First they bought is EBP program. What is EBP? EBP is ethanol blending program. So ethanol cost of procurement for ethanol, as I told, it is lesser than the petrol. So whenever the petrol prices are higher than ethanol, this ethanol can be blended with petrol. Globally, if you see, there is 20% ethanol blending in petrol. So if you can blend that, and currently government brought a policy that government will blend 10% till 2025. So they are already working with that. So currently, past 4 5 years average will come around 5%. We have not even reached 10% of blending. So there is a demand of 6 crore liters. There is a demand of 6 crore liters from from these oil marketing companies, HPCL, PPCL, IOC, and all these companies. There is a demand of 6 crore liters, and we are able to only fulfill 1 crore liter till now, 1.5 crore liter till now. So there is a long runway. So what it has done is, so most of the times you'll see, when you research that, you will understand that it is a, it's a good thing if they convert, because we are already a sugar surplus country. If they can convert some of the sugar cane into ethanol, these ethanol realizations are higher than sugar. So whenever that happens, sugar manufacturing companies will make more money, and ethanol's price is fixed. There are three types of ethanols. First is directly, one is which is directly converted from sugarcane to ethanol. Second is B heavy molasses, B heavy ethanol. Third is C heavy. So topmost quality, which I am talking, it carries highest rate, which is close to 64 65 rupees approximately, and lowest is having 45 rupees. So and let me tell you, the realizations on ethanol are higher than sugar. So when your cost of selling is fixed, your cyclicity gets reduced, because you cannot make loss on that. You will sell that at 65 rupees. So your product selling price is fixed. Minimum selling price is fixed in ethanol. So because of which sugar manufacturing companies cyclicity has reduced. Please comment in the comment box with you if you understood this thing, that ethanol EBP program has reduced the cyclicity of that industry. So this government took that serious decision of blending this, and they have this plan that they will go for 20% blending by 2030. So if you see that from that perspective, sugar companies which used to be cyclical industry earlier, now these companies will become less cyclical. Why they were cyclical? Because most of the times the prices of sugar or prices of their products which they are selling used to go below the cost of production. Now, second thing what government has done is bringing MSP in sugar. What is MSP? Minimum support price or minimum selling price. So earlier sugar prices used to go down below cost of production. Now there is a minimum level. So currently it is at 32 rupees. So sugar price in India cannot go below 32 rupees. You cannot sell below 32 rupees. So, and cost of production is close to 2,900, 2,800, depending upon your efficiency. So you have a fixed margin. Your selling price is 32. Your cost of procurement is 2850. Your cost of production might be 3,000. So you have a fixed margin, 3,000 or 3,050, or some may be having, depending upon your efficiency, depending upon your equipments what you are using, your margin may differ from 5% to 8% on sugar. So your refining margin is fixed. It is like now sugar industry has become like Reliance Industries, which refines petroleum products from this crude oil. So sugar manufacturing is not different than any petroleum industry, because you have this fixed margin now. Now, because of MSP and because of EBP, cyclicity of this industry has reduced. Please comment in the comment box. Do you agree to this, that MSP and EBP has reduced the cyclicity of this industry? Please comment in the comment box. Yes. So what it has done is, and still in that company, these companies, there were companies which were heavy on debt, and there were some companies which were low on debt. So with this MSP and EBP, the companies which were very conservative, like Balrampur Chini, because it never used to take big debts, they never used to take big loans to expand. So the companies which were having less debt, they turned debt free. They turned close to debt free or debt light. The companies who were heavy in debt, they were unable to expand their distillery capacity. MSP is there, but still the debt is too big, and they were unable to expand their ethanol capacity. And because of that, the companies still didn't come out of that bad phase. So there are two categories of companies. One is top of the pyramid, Balrampur Chini, Dhampur Sugar. So these are top of Balrampur Chini, Dhampur Sugar, and EID Perry. These are top of the pyramid. There were very less debt on their balance sheet, and after this EBP and MSP, debt has become negligible. And if you can see the charts, you will understand the stocks are at all-time high today. But there were some companies before this MSP and EBP, the debt was too huge, because if you want to set up a distillery, because distillery was not there before, if you want to set up a distillery, you must have cash. This company had a lot of debt, and most of the companies didn't set up the distillery plant. And if you cannot set up distillery plant, MSP is okay. But if you want to come out of that debt, you must have EBP and MSP working in both. Do you understand this, or are you with me with what I'm saying? Please comment in the comment box with you. Yes. So these companies which had a huge debt, these companies, unless and until they create a supernormal profit in sugar, they cannot be debt light companies. So stocks like Renuka Sugar, even if you see these companies, there are a lot of companies, Renuka Sugar, there are, you can tell some names where the debt to equity is as high as 1.5 to 2. These companies never came out of that phase. So the stocks are still languishing. The stocks are still 80% down from their highs. But the companies which had low debt, they are at all-time highs. So this is what has changed. Now, what has happened? Brazil production and Thailand production. So EBP and MSP, it has already reduced the cyclicity. But now what I'm talking about is like Sonepe Suhaga. So Brazil's production and Thailand's production drop is leading to deficit in sugar in global markets of 5 million tons. So Indian surplus sugar can absorb it in global markets at a higher price. Now what is going to happen? So biggest beneficiary of these Brazil production and Thailand production drop will be for those companies which have big debt, which has big inventory. They can benefit from this, because in case of inventory, what happens? Let us say you have an inventory of Let us say there are some companies which has inventory of 1000 crore. So if you already have produced the sugar at 29 rupees per kg, and global prices reach to 60 rupees, because in India it cannot reach 60 because there will be political intervention, because sugar is a important commodity. If it reaches 40 45, there will be political intervention, and even if there is a free market, government will tell that don't go beyond 45 40. So there is a limitation in India that can happen, but in global market there is no limitation. So if the global prices goes up to 60 rupees and you have sugar worth 1000 crore on your balance, on your in your godown, and let us say sugar price at today's price, it is, you are making only 8% margin. If the prices go up 50%, if you have an inventory of 1000 crore, you are selling that at a price 50% higher. You can sell that inventory with 50% margin. Straight away 500 crore will come to your bottom line. Have you understood this? Please comment in the comment box. Understood. So this is a game changer for those companies which has inventory with them. So companies which has big inventories might turn debt free. So what happened for these companies, Dhampur Sugar and Balrampur Sugar? That big game changing might happen to those companies which has heavy debt because of this. So export incentives plus higher prices in global markets is a win-win for sugar producers. So that's a big game changer. So that's why I'm talking about this sector today. Now, now the story here in sugar sector, it will be like 2 to 3 years based on global prices, and after 3 years, if the balance sheet asset or balance sheet loan is reduced, if there are these some of the companies become debt light, then they can set up distillery plant. So that's a 7 to 10 year story, because by 2030 India intends that we will go for 20% blending. So 10 years down the line, companies will be, means for 3 years down the line, once they are settled with this debt problem and all these issues, companies can actually expand their distillery capacity. So this is the data which shows distillery capacity in India. So largest distillery capacity is in Uttar Pradesh. So most of the plants, and it is very low. If you look at 420 lakh liters per annum, it is not even serving the purpose. And most of that is from C heavy. C heavy means most of that, C heavy means the ethyl alcohol which is produced after 3 boiling process, because in one boiling you extract sugar, in second boiling you extract sugar, in third boiling again you extract sugar. So after CAV is the third last stage, when you extract the sugar and whatever the molasses is remain, from that you convert into ethyl alcohol. So that is 50% of the total. So you will understand that most of the production here in India goes for sugar, not for ethanol. With this simple example, so that takes and because of that reason only the alcohol content is low, and because of that reason only the prices of C heavy molasses based ethanol is lower. Then there comes B heavy, that comes to 39%, and directly converted from sugarcane to ethanol, that is only 9.8%. But that picture will change over the next 5 years. Why? Because we have a surplus of 5 million ton. We are not going to consume 5 million ton because our population growth is 1 to 2%. Our growth in sugarcane consumption will not be more than 1 to 2%. It is closely related to the population growth, because you cannot consume more, because if you become rich, you will not start consuming more sugar. Do you agree to that? Sugar is a basic commodity, it is a need, it is not a want. So unless and until, just because you have become rich, you will not consume sugar more. So it depends upon population growth. Population growth is not more than 1 to 2%, 1.5%. So sugar production, sugar consumption will not reach more. So 5 million ton, which is surplus, that can be converted into ethanol. So with that, the sugar share, means ethanol produced from sugarcane manufacturing, sugarcane conversion can go as high as 30% or 20%. So if that has to reach, you'll understand that what kind of ethanol capacity India has to set. So there is a big future for ethanol, but I see that this is a gold rush, because just because everyone will start uh, adding the ethanol capacity now. So if you think that you will make money on ethanol, I don't think that you are going to make big money on ethanol in sugar plants. Big money I'm talking, small money, small profits the sugar plants will make, but big money is will be made by the people who provides this ethanol equipments. Do you agree to this? And Peter Lynch already always tells that during a gold rush, if there is a gold rush, everyone wants to mine gold. Everyone will go there and start mining there. It is better to uh, supply shovels. It is better to supply jeans. It is better to supply the equipments for mining purpose. They will make bigger monies, because equipment supplier will be only one, but there will be lot of people who want to dig gold. Have you understood this analogy? So there will be a gold rush in this ethanol. It is better to bet on the companies which provide these equipments, and one of the companies is Praj Industries. So that's why I'm not betting on sugar based on ethanol story, because I know that every company will start this ethanol production plant, and there will be overcrowding crowding in this segment. So if the overcrowding is there, supply increases, your prices has to come down. So that's why I'm not betting on ethanol on sugar plants. If I have to bet ethanol, if I have to bet on ethanol, I'll bet on Praj Industries. Praj Industries is one of the companies which provides these equipments, which provides these distillery services for these sugar manufacturing companies. Do you get this analogy? Please comment in the comment box. Got it. So Praj is one of the companies. Triveni Engineering is one of the companies. Uh, so there are some companies, but Praj is the leader. So if I want to bet on ethanol, I will bet on Praj, not on sugar manufacturing company. Now, this is one news. Indian export to benefit from strong sugar prices globally. So this is already in the news. This is May 7th news. You can go that. So Mr. Abhijit Ghorpade, sugar exporter from Maharashtra, said that if the global market goes up due to drought-like situation in Brazil, then India will get an opportunity to export. So this is what Mr. Ghorpade is saying. Now this is one of the news which came in March 2021. Sugar output likely to fall in Brazil. So they already talked about that. Now already there is a drop in sugar output. So this can be game changer. Now see, you have to see whenever you are betting on sugar, you must see the cycles, what has happened in past. Why you need to understand the cycles is because, see, if the sugar prices go up, sugar plants make more money. If they make more money, they will try to produce more. If they want to produce more, they have to procure more sugarcane. If they have to procure more sugarcane, they have to give a better price for the farmers, because otherwise farmers will go from one plant to other plant. Do you agree to this? So that's why whenever there is a price rise in sugar, whenever they make big profit, they give more money to the farmers so that they get more sugarcane, because they think that next year we can produce more and we can export more. So this is a cycle. So if there is a windfall for sugar manufacturing companies, next year farmers will be having more money. So with that, what happens, when farmers get more money, more people produce more sugarcane, and whenever there is more production, there is a bumper production in sugar, and if there is good rainfall, what happens is whenever every farmer tries to cultivate sugar, and wherever there is a good rainfall, there is a bumper production, then India will face a bigger surplus. And if India faces a bigger surplus, and if there is no need in global markets, again the prices of sugar cane will come down, because India too somewhat it is very important from the global sugar price point of view. So this understanding of cycle, this is how cycle works in sugar. So this understanding of cycle is very important. So sugar cycles are very short-lived. You will see that 4-5 years, sugar manufacturing companies don't make big profits, but 1-2 years, once in 5 to 6 years, they create supernormal profit. So this is a cycle that keeps on repeating. Now, here, if you see from the size point of view, you'll see that this is a chart of US sugar, US 11 sugar. This is the index which you can just track. You can just go on chart and you can check this. This is global sugar prices. So from 1996 to 2004, around 8 years, the sugar prices were in the range. It was in channel. If you see here, it was in channel. But it came out of that channel. And whenever it came out of that channel, sugar prices went up 155% in just 2 years. 2004 to 2006, sugar prices went up 155%. Just imagine what kind of money sugar plants would have made who had big inventory on their godowns, in their godowns. 155% rise. If somebody is having 100 crore worth of inventory in their godowns, they were directly making 150 crore profit, or they were directly making that kind of profit on that sugar which they are selling. 155% price rise. Just imagine. So because of that windfall gains, most of the companies came out of that bad phase, and most of the companies became multi-bagger in 2004 to 2006. So 2004 to 2006, global sugar prices went up 155%. Again, that sugar cycle again started in 2009. So sugar prices went up 120% from 2009 to 2010. Now, if you see now, then what it has made, when the sugar prices went up, the companies here in India who were near bankruptcy or who were having huge debts, or the companies which were debt like even, all the stock became multi-bagger. So when we are talking about global price rise, each and every company in India will make supernormal profit. Be it Bilrampur Chini, be it Dampur Sugar, be it Renuka Sugar, be it Mawana Sugar, be it Upper Ganges Sugar, be it Andhra Sugar, be it Ugar Sugar, whatever the company you touch, every company is going to make super normal profits on their inventory. So what it has done is Bajaj Hindustan Sugar, which was trading at 6 rupees in 2003, because Bajaj Hindustan went for expansion in 2003 2004. So it added as an advantage because they went for expansion and earlier inventories, so double benefit. So because of that, what happened? Stock went up from 6 rupees to 75 rupees in just 3 years. Commodity cycle was 2 years, and company continuously going up for 3 years. So this company went up 75x in just 3 years, from 6 rupees to 470 rupees. So in 3 years, stock went up 75. Just imagine how much money you would have made if you have understood this industry and thinking this as a business. You have started this as a business, and you would have looked at Bajaj Hindustan Sugar at 2000 in 2003, 4, or even half of 4, and you would have done a proper research, and you would have understood that मुझे ये धंधा लगाना है, ये plant लगाना है. Considering that way, considering and understanding that business, if you have put money in Bajaj Hindustan, it would have created fortunes for you, because you don't need more than 3 to 4 stocks to create fortune in your life. So if you get such kind of multi-bagger in 3-4 years, if you can make even 10x, forget about 75x, it can change your fortunes. By you will put money looking at value, not at the price. Do you agree to this? So that's why I don't look at the stock prices. I don't look at the stock price. I understand the business. I go in deep. So that's why you should understand the business, what it is doing. When you understand, you should buy that company. You should not buy that stock. You should buy that company. You should buy that company. When it happens, it can create fortune. Because when the mindset changes from stock market investor to a business investor, you can create fortune. As long as you are a stock market investor, you cannot make money. Let me tell you. This is what I have learned from past 13 years. So you should look at each business as if you are investing in a business, not in a stock. Stock might go up and go down. Business is static. Prices are dynamic. Business is static. Prices are dynamic. You should bet on business at the right time. And we already have a framework in our mentorship program to teach you how to find right business at the right time. I don't see stock prices much. I give more importance to value in the business. So Dhampur Sugar, which was okay, which didn't went for expansion, they must not have be that was not a much beaten down compared to Bajaj Hindustan. That might be the reason the stock has went up only 20x in 3 years. So all these, not only Dhampur Sugar, even Balrampur Chini went up, Renuka Sugar went up. There are a lot. You can just go and check the charts. So so what happens is when you know this, two things which you can do. When you know that sugar, this is how this industry is going to do. When you are unsure what companies you have to buy, best approach works that you buy a basket of company. When you make a basket, in some stock you can make 10x, in some stock you can make 3x, in some stock you can make 2x, in some stock you might not make money. So overall, you will create a decent profit, 15, 20, 25% for 5 years compounding, or 30% even compounding. It's a good amount of money, 25%, that kind of, because if you are able to, you can double the money in 3 years by going the approach of basket investing, buying in 10, 12 stocks when the stocks are not undervalued. Because today the stocks are not that deeply undervalued compared to 1 year back. Most of the sugars like Dhampur Sugar already it has an all-time high. Balrampur Chini it is already at all-time high. If you have listened to me, if you have read my comments last year in March 2020, I was consistently talking about Balrampur Chini and Dhampur Sugar. But I am not touching Balrampur Chini and Dhampur Sugar. I am not interested because I am not touching the stock which has less than 10x potential. I don't see that might happen. That might happen and it will happen. It's a big difference. So I'm not touching Dhampur Sugar or Balrampur Chini. I used to trade that when it was at 80, 85, 90 rupees. Now I'm not touching those. But this, if you create a basket, because what I do it for myself, it is different. What you should do it for yourself, because my risk appetite is different. My understanding about the business is different. So that's why I personally don't go in basket approach, because even when I identified that commodity bull run is going to happen, I would have bought JSW Steel, Tata Steel, and Steel Authority, but I bought only Steel Authority. And if you go and check the charts, Steel Authority has given more returns from the lows than JSW Steel. Just this is one of the activity which you should do. Please do that, because in the distressed industry and whenever the commodity bull run happens, biggest money is made in beaten down, and safest money is made in top names. Safest, those who understand, because I understood Steel Authority better, that was a safe bet for me. Safe is relative. What is safe for me is not safe for you. Do you agree to this? Just comment in the comment box. What is safe for me is not safe for you. Please comment in the comment box. So that's why you should understand well. That's why we in this mentorship program help you to understand you as a person. Because are you a test match player? Are you a one-day player? Are you a T20 mindset? We should understand that. If you are a test match, your playing style will be different, because I am here to coach you, I am here to teach you, but you should understand what format you are, what is good for you. So that's why uh, I have bought only one sugar company. Let me tell you, I'm not buying 10. I have bought only one. Either I will make big money, or I will not lose much. So this is what heads I win big, tails I don't lose much. This is what I follow. Uh, and now let us see what is going to happen over the next 2 years. Please ignore this. I have written repeat of 2003 to 2008. Yes, that is going. I already written on my blog that why from 2020 to 2025 is a repeat of 2003 to 2008 on my blog. Have you gone through it? Please comment in the comment box. If you have not gone through it, please comment in the comment box, so that I should understand that I have clearly written on my blog. I have given many pointers why 2020 to 2025 is equal to 2003 to 2008. So whatever the big move happened in 2003 to 2008, that is going to be repeated in 2020 to 2025. So yes, so if you have not gone through that, I have written an article on that. You can go through that. So currently, what I'm seeing is, are we seeing a repeat of 2003 to 2006 now? So let us understand that. See here, if you see, Here, if you see this pattern, if you see this pattern, and now if you see this pattern, are they not identical? Please comment. Are they not identical? Whatever you are seeing here, channel, and same here, it is a channel. These are not identical. Technical analysis tells that history repeats itself. So history will be repeating itself because there was a channel, there was a breakout earlier in 2003-4. Now again there is a breakout here. So please don't take this as a recommendation. I am giving you the disclosure. I am not a SEBI registered investment advisor. I cannot talk about any stock, or I cannot talk. This is purely for educational purpose. So whenever that channel breakout happens, you have seen here, whenever that channel breakout happened, global prices moved up 155%. So here if you see global sugar prices, it has given breakout. You can just tell me, just comment in the comment box where the sugar prices are headed. Now it is at $17. Where the sugar prices are headed? Past was 155%, 180%, and 200%. You yourself tell me that where the sugar prices are headed. I'm not going to talk. So what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing minimum 23, 24. This is what I'm seeing. So if that is going to happen, minimum on that minimum side, if history has to be repeated, we are seeing 34, 36 rupees here on 30 to 35 rupees here on global sugar price. So when that happens, will the history repeat for the companies which are beaten down? So I am seeing that. So I bought one company. I'm not talking about that company because people take it as a recommendation. I don't want to share my name, what I have bought at all, because people take it as a recommendation and again they cry and they lose money. So I have given you such a big thing. Why do you want name? Why do you want that name? Just take some effort. I have brought this platform to you. Please do some effort, take some effort. Please do research. Now what I am seeing is fundamentals are in line with the technical breakout. This is what I'm seeing. So from past 2 years, Thailand, second largest exporter of sugar, has had a bad crop. Production fell from 14 million ton to 7 million ton. Coming season 2, it is not expected to go beyond 10 million ton. And drought across large part of South America is leading to lower production in Brazil. The largest exporter of sugar will lead to a deficit, and this is the largest producer of sugar, and this will lead to a deficit of 4 to 5 million ton, taking the price as high as 30 to 50% even from the current level. This is what the fundamental science are saying. Please don't take it as a recommendation. So India has a surplus of 5 million ton. This can be absorbed in global market even with export subsidy from even without export subsidy from government realization. Government on their inventories realizations can be high as 20-25%, in some cases 30-35% also. So this is what fundamental science say. So I'm not only saying it from the technicals. So how to play the upcoming sugar cycle? So if you want to play safe, there are two strategies. If you want to play safe, if you don't understand the dynamics, if you don't understand when to exit, because entry is easy, entry is very easy. If you are unable to exit this, there will be a continuous lower circuits in stocks, because exit is 100 times more important than entry. So if you don't know where to exit, safe strategy is to buy the most efficient player during the bad phases of stock market cycles. Usually half times book is a good price to pay. So you can get 3 to 5 bagger in 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 bagger. So there are top companies, there are a lot of companies, you can research about them. All those companies which are making all-time highs come in this category. So strategy number 2 is buy the distressed player in the industry where it passes the stress test. It gives you confidence that this company will survive. This company has good promoter holding. This company has good promoters, honest promoters, and this company has good inventory. So if you are able to buy these companies at 20 to 30%, these are very risky companies. Let me tell you, if you don't understand, risk comes from ignorance, or risk comes from doing doing something which you don't know. So what you know is important, because even after being in markets, even after tracking this sector for 10 years, I don't know more than 1% of this industry. This is what I'm saying. So if you think that you know very well, then and then only you should touch these names. Or because I think that I know 1% of this industry, and but that is, but the way I understand is that is enough for me to exit some of these stocks. So I'm following the strategy number two. So these stocks we must buy at 20% to 30% of the replacement cost. Important factors here is good promoter holding, because see, there will be a windfall in sugar plants, sugar manufacturing plants. All these plants will make, all these companies will make windfall again over the next 1 to 2 years if the thesis goes right. Now, there are some examples in past. If you have understood the case of Leel Electricals, Leel Electricals was a brand which was having a AC brand called as Lloyd Electricals. Lloyd Electricals was the AC brand. They sold this brand to Havells. Now, this company, Havells, they, from that sale, they got 1000 crore, and the market cap of that company was 1000 crore, close to 900 to 1000 crore. And I have lost money in that. So it is not what we say. It is okay to lose money, but if you don't learn from that, it's a big foolishness. So I have learned from that. What I have seen is these promoters were considered to be good. Whenever that money came from that sale of 1000 crore brand, they did not brought that, they didn't bring this money into the balance sheet. They siphoned out the money from that company, and because of that, stock went came down from 200 to zero. So this is the risk with the promoter. If you don't have good promoter with you, you lose a lot of money. And one thing, if the promoter holding is not good, let us say if the promoter holding is low, you can lose big money. Because if the promoter holding is not good, and if the company is going to make profit, it will motivate him to bring that cash outside of the company. If that company brings that cash outside the balance sheet, just see what will happen with that stock. So you have to be very cautious. You have to be in these names. There is lot of effort required. And if you want to play a gamble, it can prove to be a gamble. If you want to invest in this strategy number two, you should be very careful. You should touch those number names where the promoter holding is high. Do you agree to this? Please comment in the comment box. So you need to look at these companies. There are plenty of companies, because there are 18 19 sugar companies, and 50% of them comes in strategy number two. So if you can find those companies where the promoter are good, where the promoter holding is good, where the promoters are not perceived to be fraud, they have not done any fraudulent activities in past, then you are here to make big money. So if you can do that, you'll be sitting on multi-baggers. So there are some multi-baggers, there will maybe some multi-baggers wherein the stock might move up 10 to 20x even from the current valuation, because they are beaten down, because they are down 80% from the top or 85% from the top. And if this is going to change, some of the companies might turn from debt heavy to debt free, because the realization on this will be one time realization that they can pay off this debt. So that has already happened in the past. Some of these companies like Balrampur Chini, during the last cycle, they became debt free. So the low promoter holding will not help you. And even if the promoter holding is low, you should be knowing that promoter will not siphon out that money. Whatever I do with that depth of understanding, because still now there is one company on my radar called as Kiri Industries in chemical sector. They are going to receive more money than the market cap. I have not bought a single share of that. The reason for that is, whenever the promoters get big money, they can siphon out that money. I want to bet on those companies only after when the money is completely shown on their balance sheet. When the money is completely shown on their balance sheet, it is okay to buy expensive. But I'm waiting for that. The reason for that is I don't know much about Kiri Industries promoter, whether they are good or not. So there are 3 4 companies like that. Uh, I want to bet at a later stage, even if it is expensive. So you need to find that. So there are plenty of the companies which can become in this strategy number 2. So some of the companies can make profit equivalent to the current market cap over the next 2 to 3 years, because this sugar cycle is very short lived. As I told, whenever these companies make big profit, they pay more to the farmers, and next year you have a bumper production. So whenever you have a bumper production, sugar surplus increases, cost of price, global sugar prices also decrease, because similarly it happens all around the world. So that might take some of the companies again to the bad phase. So in 2 years, if the company becomes debt free, and if the cyclicity has reduced because of MSP, the cycle will be reduced going after 2 to 3 years. It will not be a cyclical industry. So there are some companies which will become a multi-bagger now because of this windfall gain, and after that they will become a consistent compounder, because the cyclicity has reduced. The stock will not come down. They are so undervalued. First they will reach the replacement cost. Let us say replacement cost of one plant is 1000 crore and current market cap is just 200 crore. So what is replacement cost? To set up a similar plant, you need to have 1000 crore. This I'm just giving you the example. So first they will reach. So if the replacement cost is 1000 crore and if the market cap is just 200 crore, first they will reach 1000 crore. So until that reaching happens, this will become multi-bagger. And once they reach that, once they are not more undervalued, what will happen is once the debt is reduced, they can become a consistent compounder based on ethanol production, based on sugar production. They can become considered. So this is one kind of opportunity, one kind of decadal opportunity to find such companies now which can become multi-bagger now, and that can be carried for compounders for next 5 10 years. If you are seeing that ethanol story is going good, so after 2 to 3 years you can recheck whether the ethanol story is going good or not. So the company which I am invested into, rebased to 100, I'm talking. Market cap of that company is, let us say, 100. I have rebased to 100. If the market cap might be 2000 crore, I have taken it as 100. So I have rebased that to 100. Market cap of that company is 100. Sales is 600 crores. Debt is 500. Inventory is 300. Profit upside potential in this upcycle, if I go right, or if the sugar prices go right, potential is they can make profit equivalent to the current market cap. So this is what only one company which I am betting on. So what are the risks? So अभी तक अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा लगा, but unless and until you don't know what is risk, see, let me tell you, I don't take any promoter risk. I don't take any kind of that risk, because I am putting my hard-earned money. Unless and until some stock gives me a confidence that I can sell something big and buy something, I don't touch. I don't take any promoter related risk and all. So risk negative, I won't comment on any company, but you should understand this risk and negatives. So there is a change in government policies if there is a change in government policies and export incentives or EBP program, it's a risk to our GCs. Second risk is global price plunge. Automatically, because of some reasons, if the global prices come down, that is a risk to this thesis. Third is SAP leading to higher input cost. More political, like if you see in UP today, after 2 years, there will be an election in 2022. So there will be more political pressure from UP government for these companies to give higher price. They can go to any extent, because they want to keep the farmers happy, and there might be some dharnas and all these things to increase these prices, because they can see that all the some report will come that all sugar manufacturing have created windfall gain. So if that happens, there will be higher input cost. So are you getting the logic? Please comment in the comment box getting it. So this is one of the risks to the argument which I'm talking. Now, fourth number risk is good rainfall leading to bumper production. This is one of the risks. Fifth is lower crude oil prices leading to lower incentives. So these are monitorable. You have to monitor all these parameters. Once you understand these things, then this can be exit strategy. So how to exit? A lot of people ask me. Based on this, you can think about exit. So if there is change in government policy, you can exit. If there is a global sugar price plunge, you can reduce. SAP leading prices, you can higher cost, you can reduce, you can sell, reduce, increase, sell. All these will be depending on various parameters. So I have given you all these points. You can think on that. So where and why and where I am investing into sugar. So I am not investing first of all in sugar because sugar industry is good or it is looking good. My belief on investing in sugar is come from my core, and my core I have written on my blog. Why old economy stocks will be the leaders of upcoming market. So I think that repeat of 2003 to 2008 is going to happen. But in repeat of 2003 to 2008, sugar went up from 2003 to 2006 because in 2003 to 2008, sugar cycle was only 2 years, 2004 to 2006. So I believe that the repeat of 2003 to 2008 is from 2020 to 2025. So that is why I'm betting on sugar because and sugar comes in old economy. It is not a technology related sector. I have given much pointers on my blog. You can go through my blog why I think that old economy stocks will be the leaders, and already they are leaders. Now, if you see, steel is making new highs, cement is making new highs, sugar is making new highs. So old economy stocks are already new market bull market leaders now. So repeat of 2003 to 2008, global sugar prices at breakout price suggesting inflationary period for the next 1 to 2 years. Companies with good inventories, good promoters, survivor candidates will see big delta in profits. We don't want big margin. We want delta in profit. If a loss-making companies turn into profits, the share price will go crazy. If the profit-making company goes into bigger profit, the stock might go 3x. But the stock which is coming out of loss and turning into profit, the stock will go 10x, 20x. So the soft commodities like tea and sugar, especially sugar, is the next deal. This is what I believe. So sugar is the next deal. Not looking at buying top of the pyramid as there is no margin of safety. This is what I am following. It doesn't mean that you should follow the same because my experience is different. My risk taking ability is different. My understanding of this industry is different. If I would have been novice, I would have touched top pyramid companies. If I am deep into this sector, I will look at some top and some bottom. But if I have made good multi-bagger returns in sale, I have that risk taking ability. So I'm not touching top of the pyramid, I am touching bottom of the pyramid because I am already sitting a good profit in Steel Authority, multi-bagger profit. So I can take some risk here in bottom of the pyramid. So I'm not touching top of the pyramid. The person who doesn't understand should go top of the pyramid, or who have some understanding should go top of the pyramid plus bottom of the pyramid, create a basket. Who have deep understanding, he will always go for bottom of the pyramid. Top of the pyramid, Balrampur Sugar, Dhampur, please don't take this as a recommendation. I'm just telling you the concept. Balrampur Sugar, Dhampur Sugar, EID Parry. All these stocks have already become multi-bagger. But I was talking about these companies last year in April, May, June 2020. Just comment in the comment box if you have seen these names from me last year. So I was talking about them. Yes. So, but they can still move, but you can have a study on that. So not looking at the, so investing in sugar, not because of ethanol, I'm betting on sugar because of global pricing scenario. So focusing on inventory of sugar rather than ethanol capacity. I'm focusing on companies where people are questioning the survival of the company, but I can see a clear path, good promoter holding, reasonable manageable debt, turnaround candidate, good inventory. This is what the parameters which I am looking to make. So this is what the blog I have written, Strategic Alpha on my blog. I have written bull market leaders create fortune. Why there is a strong case for old economy stocks to be the leaders of upcoming bull markets. So please go through that blog. You'll understand that how over the next 5 years we can create fortune for ourselves. So this was all about today's session. So if you are here, so I'll be coming with lot of content here after over the next 5 years. Please stay here and just follow all these social media platforms so that you will understand and you will become a smart investor. So if there are only any questions, I'm open for the questions. We'll start the question and answer session now. Comes from Mr. Rohit Gulati. What if government decided to increase the MSP due to higher realization in sugar? No, how can that happen? Minimum selling price. Yes, minimum selling price, they are revising it, but they will not revising looking at the higher realization. They will, there are a lot of parameters. But if they increase MSP, again cyclicity will be reduced. So that's a good point. Is it safe to say now that comparison period of before 2015, the sugar is not really a permanent cyclical industry, and ethanol and government help has caused it to give a structural growth? Yes, I am seeing that structural change in sugar. I'm seeing that structural change in sugar. This question was from Mr. Samir Achara. Hope you have got my answer, Mr. Samir. Please comment in the comment box if you are here still live in this session. So, yes. Now, Mr. Abhishek Goenka is asking, when was MSP introduced? You can just Google it. For that, you don't need me. There is Google. You can just Google it. You'll understand. कौन-कौन से country है जो EBP use कर रही है? This is what the question from Mr. Shakti Umar. And वो country में EBP percentage क्या है? जैसे कि इंडिया का टारगेट 20% है by 2030. No, it is 20% of blending compared to compared to that total quantity of petrol. अगर इंडिया का मींस अगर शुगर केन वर्सेस इथेनॉल का परसेंटेज अगर देखें, ब्राजील somewhat goes to 50-50. Brazil is near 50-50. 50% production goes for Brazil is the biggest, has this biggest program of EBP, ethanol blending program. So they have went till 50-50. India is still at 80-20. 80% of our revenues, India combined, comes from sugar. And today, 20% of the revenues, 15 to 20, not even 20 actually, 15% of the revenues come from ethanol. So there is a long way to go. If you see it from the 10 years perspective, this industry itself will triple. Industry itself will triple. So Mr. Nilesh asked that in Q&A section. I'm not going to answer that from the comment section, chat section. So Mr. Santosh Priyan B is asking, how long Brazil and Indonesia production deficit be advantage to Indian sugar surplus? I already told it will be around 2 years. Just understood. I just told about that. It's a cycle. Whenever you get a good price, let us say this year they get a good price, next year there will be bumper production. So it's a 1.5 year to 2 year cycle. So 2 years, this advantage is 1.5 to 2 years max. That cycle may have started 4 months before, so it might be 1 to 1.5 year. So that advantage is 1 to 1.5 year, but that 1 year is enough to sell all this deficit, sell all the surplus which India is having. What if Brazil and Thailand sugar manufacturing comes to normal? That will happen after 2 years, but उतने time तक सबको windfall gain मिल जाता है. 1 year is super normal profit. What are few such distressed companies to start studying? You can just go on money control. You will understand what are distressed. The companies, you just can go to screener.in. Just open Balrampur Chini. You will get a lot of peer comparison and just go through that. Whoever has big debt, they are distressed companies. So you don't need names from me. Just take some effort to find out those companies. Can EBP is successful in other countries? Yes. Brazil is one of the successful country in implementing EBP. So hope you have got your answer, Mr. Shakti. So why, sir, why Praj, not IGSEC? So IGSEC can be one, but I like Praj more. I'm not talking that IGSEC nahi ho sakta hai. or I'm liking Praj. When to exit from steel, but I have not invested a single rupee in Praj. I am using that stock for trading. I have not invested a single rupee. When to exit from steel and copper? See, I already told moving average crossovers. You can look at moving average crossover. Sir, Bajaj Hindustan has good promoter holding, but holding is low. Please share your views. I'm not talking about any. I'm not going to talk about any stock specific, but uh, promoter holding is a big risk. Low promoter holding is a big risk. Why? Because unless and until promoter holding is not good, he will not be serious. Even if the good promoter, even if he is a good promoter, उसको खुद को पैसा नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन समझे आप ही प्रोमोटर हो और टोटल कंपनी में आपका प्रोमोटर होल्डिंग 5% ही है, तो आपको बड़ा पैसा बनेगा, तो बड़ा पैसा 95% you have to pay to your shareholders whenever you give dividend. तो ऐसे कंपनी को मैं क्यों हाथ लगा? एक तो I'm not particularly talking about Bajaj Hindustan or any company. I'm not talking about any, but I'm just giving you the perspective. So unless and until you have that confidence कि promoter का holding ज्यादा है, तो उसका skin in the game है. जिसका promoter holding ज्यादा, वो खुद के लिए और shareholder के लिए, सबके लिए सोचेगा. As simple as that. Who else is supplying ethanol apart from sugar companies in India? Just you can Google. You don't need that answer from me. Where to check commodity prices? This is what Mr. Manish is asking. So you can check commodity prices in investing.com. You just click commodities and you can Google actually. You don't need me to tell you where to check commodity prices. You just ask this question to Google. Google has all the answers. Sir, is it possible that Brazil and Thailand come out of that bad situation earlier than what is expected, or maybe in a year or so, so to prevent global shortage? Yes, it is possible, but at least 1.5 years, that cannot. How will you increase the production unless and until you have sugarcane? If there is drought in your farms, how will you produce more sugarcane? If there is no sugarcane, how will you produce sugar? Not only sugar, actually beet. A lot of the Brazil production comes from beet. They produce sugar from beetroot. So if there is no production of raw material, how can you produce that? Please have a look on that. Sir, your views on Andhra Sugar. I'm not going to talk about stock specific. Sir, Mr. Kumar, Mr. Samir Parikh is asking, which companies do you prefer to take some risk investments? I'm not going to talk about any names. You can, there is lot of, I have given you a lot of logic. You can go through the names. Turnaround companies in sugar will have any major capex. How can they have capex? Because the companies which already in debt, they cannot do capex. If they, once they have to come out of that debt, then they can do capex. Next question is from Mr. M. Kumar. Your view on R Power and Unitech? No, I don't. I want to talk about any stocks now. I'm not going to talk because a lot of people take it in the wrong way. I don't want to give the names now. I'm suffering actually from that, telling about names. I don't want to talk, and that's a big issue. How to check sugar inventories by each companies? Do they have breakup of raw material and FG in quarterly result? Yes, there is. You can go through the annual reports. There is a lot of that in annual reports. Mr. Samir is asking, sir, either we make ethanol directly from the juice or we make sugar and export to take advantage of sugar. What is more lucrative option for sugar companies in comparison to each other? See, if the sugar prices double, it doesn't make sense to produce ethanol. They will all be producing sugar. If the sugar prices even go 20% or 30% up, is it still lucrative to go for sugar, not ethanol? Because they will be making less realizations on ethanol compared to sugar. So in globally, it is happening actually. If globally, if you see in Brazil, if the ethanol prices go up, they produce more ethanol, less sugar. Whenever sugar prices go up, they produce more sugar, less ethanol. So sometimes they go 60-40, sometimes they go 40-60. Sometimes they go 65-35. So going forward, when we have that ethanol capacity in place in India over the next 3 to 5 years or 10 years, India will become a similar country like Brazil. So what is good promoter holding in this case? More the better, more the better. 40 to 50%, 35% even is good, 35% is even good. As per EBP, as per me, EBP is going to be very successful as same as city gas distribution program. So this might be your view, but I do believe in that. Mr. Sushil is asking, sir, in India, sugar factory works mostly on Sarkar base, not in other countries. It's under government authorities. The impact on sugar industry. See, Sarkar based sugar manufacturing is there, but we are not betting on Sarkar based. We are betting on corporates, listed entities. Mr. Samir is asking, how much does this factor matter at UP side? Water issue is less because they get water from perennial sources like river itself, and the sources like such rivers are like Himalayas itself. Whereas in south side, Maharashtra are dependent on, see, water is not more important. What if we see? Yes, water is important. More the water, more will be your sugarcane produce, and more will be your output of sugarcane juice from the same sugarcane. So this is what we call as Utara in Marathi. So UP based sugar companies are having output of 11.5%, close to 11 to 11.5%, 11.5% recovery from the same sugarcane, 11.5% recovery of sugar from the same sugarcane. Compared to in Kolhapur, Maharashtra or Karnataka, it might be close to 7, 8, 9%, depending upon what variety you are having. And UP, new varieties have came because of that. That recovery might even go higher. UP, as you said, is full of water and realization. That's why margins in UP based sugar companies are better than Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Hope you have got the answer. Now, next question comes from Mr. Samir. How much market cap you are considering sugar? Market cap, I'm not considering market cap. I'm not looking at market cap at all. I'm just looking at what company can come out of the bad phase. This is what I'm looking. So Mr. Rahul asked me why you call investment in certain stock as sin money. So what is sin money? Sin money are those stocks you should only invest that money which you can afford to lose. So personally, I don't go beyond 5% of my total capital. Max, I go up to 7%. So if I'm investing 100 rupees, I don't go beyond 7 rupees. And I don't, when I'm investing that 7 rupees in some stock, I'm not worried even if that 7 rupees becomes zero. That's what is called SIM money for me. Usually I keep 5 to 7% as SIM money. If I go right, I make 10x, 20x. That 7 rupees can become 70 rupees and 140 rupees. If I go wrong, I'm ready to lose entire 5 rupees or 7 rupees. That's why I call it some stocks as SIM money. Mr. Anonymous is asking, does brand name helps in this industry? See, it doesn't help much, because you should see how much percentage of brand's revenues are contributing to the total revenues. If you see Renuka Sugar, much of the sales is not done through brand. It must be. I have not gone through deep in that, because that doesn't. It's not relevant at all, because 80% of the sales will be bulk. It will be wholesale. 20% will be retail. This is what my assumption is. You can go and check. There is a lot of given in annual report of Renuka Sugar. I didn't give much importance to that. No, inventory means in tons. Mr. Kumar, inventory, it should be in tons. Mr. Dandapani is invest. Can we invest in those sugar companies which are based in Uttar Pradesh? That is your decision, because 2022 is the election year. So you must consider that, and you must track those things. Only and only if you can track those things, you can look at this. If you cannot track it, it will be difficult. I don't see that. I don't think. I'm not saying that If you cannot track, it's hard. You are not going to make money. You might make money, but it is going to be difficult to exit, because exit is more important. Entry is very easy. Entry is very easy. Exit is more, because stock can again come down 50-60%. Because I'm talking about multi-baggers. I'm here to create fortune. If you could take, and these are all trades. The sugar is a trade. It is not an investment. I don't consider sugar as an investment at all. It's a trade based on your understanding of cycle. Hope I have answered all the questions. If you are having any questions, please let me know, or else we shall end this session. And if you want to join my mentorship program, you can contact Mr. Ganesh. If you are interested to understand what mentorship program is, you can contact Mr. Ganesh. The number of the Mr. Ganesh's number I have shared on Telegram channel already, and you can join my mentorship program, wherein I am on the path of creating this breed or community of smart and wise investors. Already 89 people have joined this community now, and they are on that path of financial freedom. So if you are interested on that, and if somebody wants to join my mentorship program, I'll also share the number of Mr. Ganesh so that you can contact. I've shared number of Mr. Ganesh's number. I already shared that on Telegram channel also. You can go through that. Yes, thank Mr. Samir. It was a very knowledge-filled session. Yes, my always the attempt will be that I'll be always with you as a mentor, and I also believe that if I take this journey ahead, I can take lot of people with this mindset, and they can take this as a business, because I see a lot of people treating stock market as a gamble, and it will prove to be a gamble for them, because it's stock market is a place where serious people will make money. There is a need of seriousness. So please permit me to end this session. If you are satisfied with the presentation, I'll send you all the feedback forms. Yes. Thank you, everyone.